Live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So, hello, students. We are back again with another expert with us. He is currently working as an HR. So, first of all, welcome to everyone who is attending our session. I am Anubhav Nanda from Hitbullseye, your student mentor. I've taken many, webinars with the experts in the past, and today we have with us Mr. Sahil Bansal. He is currently working as an HR for the regional head throughout the North India for Aaakash and Byju's. He has a master's. He has an MBA from the MDI Gurgaon, one of the very reputed institutes, and he has an experience of more than 10 years in this domain. So welcome, Sahil. Welcome, and I can understand that once this pandemic has started, kind of again, government is imposing lockdowns and partial lockdowns. So it must be very challenging on your part working offline. So thank you for taking out time from your very busy schedule to have a talk with everyone. So before we start discussing what the whole scenario is, Sahil, what are you experiencing like as an HR? You're working in a very reputed company, you're with a very reputed brand. So what are you experiencing? Like, the partial lockdowns has started again. So how, as an HR, are you coping up with that? Over to you.
Thank you. So first of all, thanks Hitbullseye for inviting me for this small webinar and a small interaction with all of you. As you've clearly and rightly mentioned that COVID has impacted everyone in some way or the other, and for my organization also, when we teach people around and we want people to score in various competitive examinations, it is definitely difficult for us to keep that balance between coaching and between allowing everyone to be in the same boat once we have that physical coaching and the online coaching. But from my point of view, we are more than ready. We experienced it last year, and that is why we have made ourselves very much ready for any situation to come, be it partial lockdown or complete lockdown. We are working ourselves very clearly that we will not let anything impact the studies of our customer who are with us, joining us and planning to grow and planning to learn a lot from the faculties which we have. So more than prepared for this, looking forward to still increasing our numbers, and as such the results showcase that we have been doing good, and we are sure that we'll continue the same.
Super. So Sahil, the very first thing that comes in my mind, like uh, you know in your sector specifically, if I talk about the edtech part, uh, talking about students, the schools aren't opening. Most of the studying, it has shifting to online method. So where do you see the students transition from physical classroom, from a blackboard and chalk, to an online and a complete online one? Like, it's not a 50-50 thing.
So I think this transition has already happened. As I said, last year only we had seen very clear lockdowns and very clear guidelines from the government, which said that there will be no classes on a physical mode. Also, on a physical mode, it is very difficult to maintain that kind of norms of social distancing, masks, sanitization. So it has been very clear that we as an organization have already thought that online is going to be the new way. And ed tech, this word, this terminology has been combined together because of this COVID scenario only. Otherwise, education and technology were two things which were very separate from each other, but now ed tech has combined itself so that they can cope up with the challenges which are coming in this COVID scenario. So organizations, obviously I can say for my organization, they are well prepared and very ready, but I think organizations across the globe are working towards it, and they are ensuring that they should be well prepared for such scenarios. There are many organizations who have announced also that they will not have any physical form of employees or their customers. So I think overall the scenario is very clear that everybody needs to be prepared, everybody needs to look at it as an online system only now.
So, Sahil, you are working as a regional head throughout the North India. So, if I talk about specifically your domain, so a company has very different, not only verticals, but in different horizontal, different levels. Like you have finance department, you have marketing, you have sales, you have operations. how how are how is an organization and you as an HR making a balance between all these different sections, like for an HR who might be working in a branch, and for a senior like you who is looking after so many regions. So how do you see that?
See, from a vertical or a horizontal perspective, the people who are, having positions which who can work remotely, they definitely are told to work remotely or work on a hybrid model, which we say these days, sometimes physical form, sometimes work from home sort of thing. And for people who are in branches wherein a lot of presence is required and a lot of interaction with the customers is required, it is always that they will be made to work with all the guidelines and norms to be followed, very very clear that they have to maintain that 6 feet social distance, they have to be using sanitizers, masks, and be very clear that we do not be a part of the chain. So we need to break the chain, we need to ensure that COVID does not spread, and that is why we ensure our employees, we keep on giving them guidelines which ensure that they do not be a part, and they protect themselves and their customers as well. So people on the ground, we are very much caring from their perspective that they should not be a part of this COVID and they should save themselves. Still we get few cases, in case there are people who actually get impacted, affected by this virus, then they are given leaves, and they are also told that people nearby them should also be taking leaves or they should be working remotely so that the chain is broken. So right now the only thing which we can do as HR or as their employee, we just want to break the chain, we want the spread to be curbed to a large extent. So that is how managing. And I think all the companies, and in my past experiences also, this has been the rule, that in case there is somebody who gets impacted, we will ensure that that person gets quarantined, and the near and dear ones are also told to get quarantined till the time everything is stable and everything is normal. But we have to run the show, so rest of the people, rest of the team manages the ground level scenario.
So, Sahil, the reason for asking this question, and friends, it was because many students they had asked me this query, that how are the companies, how are they helping their employees during COVID? Because the employees themselves would be, a bit scared and a bit, confused about what kind of future are they going to expect. So it's really good that companies they are looking forward for their employees. And as Sahil sir said to all our listeners, I want to reiterate the same fact that please wear mask. We aren't wearing it for now, ironically, but please wear mask, maintain a 6 feet distance between each other, and get vaccinated as early as possible. So, Sahil, next question that I want to ask is that you have had a diverse portfolio while after your studies. You have worked with telecom, you have worked with banking. Now you are in edtech. So, how do you see the COVID impact on the recruitment process? In the sense that we have seen this thing that companies they give the letter to of signing, and the very last moment they rescind those offers, stating that it's because of cash crunch or something. So how do you see that kind of a change in the recruitment process?
See, from a recruitment process, generally, whenever the scenario is difficult to manage, yes, the number of recruitments do drop. And that is pretty normal because the companies generally work for their profits. They understand that if an employee is added to the organization, then it increases the cost of the organization. That is a general statement, that's a general scenario. But if I talk about sectors, so every sector has something specific working for them. For example, if I talk about the financial institutes, banking specifically, the recruitment has always been there. There has been a very low dip. For a little while, they just, halted the recruitment to understand how to manage this COVID scenario. Otherwise, the joinings and everything started, and everybody was on page that yes, we need to increase the manpower because they need to increase the business. Similarly, other organizations also, I think, are working on the similar agenda. There are only few, I would say, smaller players or startups right now who are still, hesitant to increase their manpower looking at the scenario. These all things depend actually, multifold on the business you are in. For example, if I talk about edtech, the edtech institutes have the recruitment going in a similar manner on a same pace. But in case there is, halt in one scenario, then they start recruiting in the technological phase to have people working remotely. So actual numbers or the job openings remain the same for this kind of industry. So it just depends that in which vertical you want to start hiring, in which place do you want to, increase the manpower. Yes, there is always an impact from a recruitment point of view, because the positions which we are opening right now, or the positions we open from a COVID point of view, will be lesser. There will be some reduction definitely, but that's just a, temporary halt, I would say. Once the scenario becomes normal, those positions plus more new positions will come, and the market will be full of and opportunities again. So it is just a temporary halt which comes into the organization or in the industry. Otherwise, I would tell everybody to, rest assured, with India and with so many organizations around, job opportunities will definitely be coming.
Great, great. So, so students, I know that most of you, and even teachers alike, we have been hearing this news that so many people, they were laid off from some company, and it has put up such a pessimistic ideology in the atmosphere that the companies, they are going all ballistic on their employees. That's not the case. The companies, as for now, they might be halting, but they are not stopping the recruitment. So please, let's bust this myth that this is something that is not happening. So, Sahil, next question that I want to ask you is that before the COVID pandemic, you yourself have been to some of the top colleges, you have been to even IIMs to recruit the students. So, how do you see, the way in which the recruitment has changed? Like, you used to go in person, have a talk to that person, used to see, non-verbal form of communication, the way they used to sit, they used to walk. So now it's all online. It's either on Zoom or it's on a video call. So how is that way of taking the recruitment changed?
So yes, heavily impacted from the change, I would say, has come from a physical interview and physical rounds of interview. It has gone online, but from a non-verbal point of view, like you use your hands, to have gestures and to showcase your point. Similarly, the Zoom calls, the Microsoft Teams, the Google Meet, these all softwares have enabled us to still check the nonverbal communication of a candidate and the confidence of the candidate from a video point of view. The only hitch which comes is the network, I would say. India, we are still not that much present everywhere. So what happens is, suppose a candidate is shortlisted in a remote area, and now we have to conduct an online interview. So the network plays a great role. So maybe the candidate is wow, the candidate is superb, but because of the network, we might not be able to hear what the candidate was about to say or share. And that is why we might have to drop the candidate. So that's the only difference, I would say, which has come because of this scenario in the recruitment, because now the softwares, these apps have developed to such an extent that we have, we can judge, we can see, we can easily communicate. Like this complete webinar is online. We used to have webinars going into the campuses, but now these days the pre-placement talks also which happen in the campuses happen online. Students witness it from their homes. So everything is very smooth and everything, and the recruitment is also pretty, I would say, easier now, because from a time consumption point of view, I don't have to travel. There is no 3 or 4 rounds of interview. What I can do is I can bring the complete panel on the same platform, and we can judge the candidate there and then. So everybody can, give their views. Also, once the candidate drops out, we can share the feedback and we can decide whether we want to recruit or not. So the time, I would say, is being saved to a lot of extent, and it has helped the recruitment process altogether. The only thing, as I said, is the network. The only thing which comes in between is sometimes anybody's network, even in good areas also, sometimes the network drops. So we are not sure about that. So that's the only part which impacts. Otherwise, this kind of recruitment also we are now used to, and we are conducting day in and day out interviews over online medium. So this uh, thought that the recruitment has been impacted to a large extent by online, no, that's nothing like that. Recruitments are going in full swing with the online medium as well.
Great. So, really, good to hear that. So, Sahil, like, you talked about the fact that, the challenge that you get, these days is when you find some candidate based out of a remote area. Probably the network connection is not good, and you have to, he goes unselected. And then you talked about, the advantages that you as an HR or a company they face, like travel time is reduced. So apart from the fact that the network issue, what else are the challenges that you are facing today while recruiting students or any new applicants?
So, first of all, the challenge, I would say, is in finding the candidates itself. So what happens is there are different expectations which the people have in today's scenario. Apart from that, there are a lot of, if and else which the parents have. So for example, for a fresher, the decision is a lot of times influenced by either their friends or their seniors or the parents. So in today's scenario, people are afraid to send their children, to send them away from home, to send them in a city where COVID might be on rise. So these are the first and foremost challenges where the candidates are hesitant to apply or to move out, or to think of something which is like an opportunity. So the expectation, or the, I would say, the bubble which they have created around themselves, that I will not be able to travel, or I don't want to go to this particular city, or I will go to this particular city only if I am provided with a certain package. So all these small thoughts which the people have developed within their minds, within this thought process, is actually leading to a lot of less applicants. So that's the first problem which comes in, the finding the right candidate, sort of a person who's ready to travel, also who's ready to put in the not just 100 but 200%. And they should develop the skill set also which is required for getting recruited. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge, as I said, getting the interview scheduled. Now once you go to the campus, suppose, or once you are in a particular place for a recruitment drive, everybody knows that that particular day the drive is there, so everybody is present. But when it comes to online, you have to have the schedule free for all the panelists. So if the HR person has to be there, the business person has to be there, or the other evaluator has to be there on the similar time, or if they are not available on the similar time, we will have to have multiple rounds of interviews at different times, which leads to stretching of the time of selection to offer. So that becomes another challenge from a online point of view or from a recruitment point of view, because people have their own agendas and there are a lot of things everybody is doing. Online has led to this, that the working hours have increased. People have to be available 24 cross 7, because now it's like a norm that yes, you are always available. So everybody has so much work which has been given to them, and that stretch is there. So getting the time and getting everybody in the same page on the same platform at the and getting the interview done becomes another challenge. So first of all, the right candidate, then the right evaluation. So both, sometimes become a challenge. And once both are done, then obviously there are challenges on the front of budgets. You obviously need to think from an organization point of view, and being an HR, I am responsible. Yeah, I am the custodian of the salary part, or the budget for the costing for the organization. So I have to be very, very critical that I am being very clear on the packages which has been offered. So students or children generally feel that they should be given better packages, but everything has to be looked into. All the scenarios have to be looked into before offering anything.
Great. So, next question that I have for you, Sahil, it is that if I talk about the pre-COVID era, so a student who is for a fresher who is studying in a college, so out of the many companies that come to visit that college or university, there are some established players like that are some MNCs, and many a times they also used to be startups which used to come, and they used to hire up students. So many students or freshers today, they feel that they should avoid going to startup because they don't have a fixed future as compared to an MNC. So do you believe in that myth that the students or freshers, they should only go towards the MNCs and leave the startups behind for this time? Or you feel the student should only decide on the matter of what profile is he getting and what is the choice of field he is going into?
So actually, you answered the question in your statement itself. See, for a fresher, it is all about learning. It does not matter actually that where you are going. It is that you should be having that thought that you will learn and you will give the best you can. That's the only two things which a fresher should think about, or a person who is getting a campus placement should think about. You should be confident to handle whatever situation is in front of you, and you should be confident that whatever profile you are applying for and wherever you land up, you will give your best and you will learn the most from the time you are there with the organization. Startups, if you just look at the market today, uh, I don't see that if generation before us had seen so many IPOs in so less of time, which we are seeing today. And most of these IPOs, they are for organizations which are not that old. So what exactly is a startup? It matters a lot, because um, a startup can be an organization which is 10-year-old also. It might be, it still is called a startup only because it just began working in that domain. But there are organizations which just start an year ago and now are greater heights. There are so many examples. One example is Zerodha. So I can just, because it's in the top of the mind for many of the people, and I think they can relate as well, that how fast the company grew. Everybody knows that how what wonders the organization has done. Now if you will get a chance to be associated with that kind of an organization, will you not get associated? So just tagging some organization with a startup name or terminology is not important. What is important is the potential you see in yourself and how much you can deliver. A startup might be just not working that well, but maybe with the time and with passage of time, with innovation, the company does wonders. So if you are a part of that startup when the company does wonders, I think you will be the one getting the maximum benefit. So the person should not think from a point of view that whether it is startup, whether it is stable, and how the journey is going to be. Just jump into it, look out for yourself, keep doing the hard work, keep learning, keep brushing the skills. always try, to understand that what the organization needs and how you can fulfill those needs. The only problem comes when the mindset is कि मुझे कम काम कर ज्यादा कमाना है या ज्यादा करना है. Now that thought process will always take you in trouble. So you have to first understand that wherever you land up, be it a very, very great organization which is highly employee friendly, or be it an organization which is not at all employee friendly, it can be any way, but how much do you learn out of it? How much do you do for the organization is important, and you have to do. Whoever gets recruited, please, that's a mantra that you have to put in the hard work. There is nothing like free lunch. That's an old saying, but stands true wherever you are, whenever you are, wherever you go. So keep working, keep doing the good bit, and only then you can grow in your career. Whether it is a startup or a well developed organization, doesn't matter.
I really hope that all the budding entrepreneurs who have joined this session and who were listening to this answer would feel really positive about going further. And I really wish that among all the students currently listening, I would see few of you in Shark Tank India, in some next seasons. So really,
Absolutely.
really great, Sahil. So EdTech, Sahil, in which you are currently a part of, it has seen quite a good amount of growth uh, in during the COVID era as well as after it, since most of the studying it has shifted online. So what sectors, as a professional yourself, do you feel, and you feel like telling the students which are those sectors that are, what should I say, profitable or attractive for the students today, that they should aim at going to?
See, first of all, there is again, I would again start from the previous answer only. You should not be sector specific. Leave that thought behind when you are getting a recruitment that I need to be a sector specific person. You should be a stream person. So, for example, I'm an HR person. I am an HR person, be it any industry. So I have to do the work and HR has to do. You put me in any industry, I'll be able to deliver. So if you are a salesperson, a marketing person, you should be able to sell whichever is the product, be it FMCG product, be it a banking product, be it a NBFC product. So you should be able to sell. That's what you should know. It should not be that you are restricted to a particular thing. If you are a customer service person, hospitality is just not the only organization or the sector you should look at. You can go and you can get recruited in a banking environment and be a great customer service person. So it is not important that which sector do you want to work with. It is important the line you want to choose. It's very important the work you want to do. So if you want to be a sales, marketing, HR, finance, any kind of person, you need to ensure that yes, you choose a field which is aligned to that particular course or that particular thing which you have done or which you want to do in your future. Still, in case if you say stability or growth, I would say that yes, banking has been very stable because it comes under essential services also. Similarly is your medical line, not just from a doctor's perspective, from a lot of sales or from a any other field perspective also, hospitality. And then if I say the edtech part also, the education industry per se is also quite stable. Hospitality was from a point of view of medical only. Right now, yes, hospitality industry as a say is not doing that well just because of the scenario which we are in. But as I said again, none of the industries are bad or none of the segments are bad. It's just a time or a phase which will pass, and every industry is interlinked and they will work together to reach to greater heights.
So, Sahil, what are the profiles or skills that are going to be lucrative after this pandemic gets over, or what are those apart from the regular aspects that you would have in your mind, that the kid should be educated enough, or he should be well versed in the knowledge that he's bringing to the organization. what are the new skills or the new profiles that you are looking forward for the freshers or from the students?
So, first of all, there is one thing which everybody needs every time. It is nothing with to do with COVID or not COVID, is confidence and communication skills. That will remain as such, whether it is today or whether it is 10 years down the line. Everybody would have to have that kind of confidence, communication, and presentation in them. So those skills stay, and that is how it is going to be, uh, whether it is COVID or not. But yes, during this era where the selection have become more scrutinized, where there is more to think while selecting a right candidate, we would definitely look at person who has more of technological skills, analytical skills. So by technology, I mean that you should be good at MS Office for sure, because you are working from home. There are a lot of things which you will have to present rather than say. There are a lot of data which will be required to be analyzed and shared. So that is the technological bit. The analytical bit, I would say, is how you understand things from distance, because now we are working online. So the thought process or the brainstorming, everything happens online. So it should be that your understanding is, at a greater level. So analytically, your thought process or the problem solving ability has to be there. So you need to work on these things to be having better chances and stand out of the crowd and get recruited. Now there is also something which people say, that how you judge the technology or the analytical bit. So an interviewer, will ask something or the other to ensure that these skills are being judged and the right candidate is selected. And to learn those skills, obviously for the technological bit, there are a lot of free courses available. A person can take some courses from YouTube or from friends. So a lot of things are available for the technological bit. For analytical bit, I think when you start solving things, or when you do some puzzles, you can do something which develops your mental ability to thing, that you always see the underlying things between the data, then you are good to go. So these two things will definitely help you to be standing out of the crowd, apart from the communication and the presentation bit. So uh, your personality, your persona definitely has to come out as a strong person, and that has to be developed along with these analytical and technological bit.
So my question was going to be a part of a subset of this question itself, but you have you answered it. I mean, if you could just elaborate on the very same point, because I want the students to listen about this. That many students, they feel that in today's time, since there is going to be more focus on the soft skills, as in how well do you speak, what are how better your vocabulary is, and they are focusing on sharpening that. But probably when it comes to the technical skills like an aptitude or the domain knowledge, they are shying away from it, in the sense ki it may take a backseat, but the communication skills should be at the forefront. So how would you suggest the students to balance, or to prepare, or to strike an equality between the aptitude, that is the technical, as well as the soft skills?
So as I said, both are important. We also generally try, almost all the organization today first of all have a normal aptitude test, okay, in the recruitment phase. Generally each organization has their own ways of taking that test. So first of all, a test is assigned to you to check your aptitude, to check your knowledge, and then the interview thing is there to check your communication, presentation, and how you actually have the skill of communication or not. So it is a combination of both. None of them can take a back seat at all. Your knowledge absolutely has to be there, otherwise you will not be able to excel. Otherwise you will not be able to do what is required out of you. For example, if you are a salesperson and you do not have the knowledge that how to sell a product, or you do not study the product before going to sell it, you will never be able to do it. And if you are not able to do what is required, the organization will not be able to continue with you. So the organization would never lose an employee who's hardworking and who is doing great. The only person with whom the organization feels it is okay to part ways is the one who is not able to meet or achieve the targets which are assigned to that person, or who is actually not having the intention to work. So it is important to have the knowledge, the skill, and just knowledge skill also doesn't work. Suppose you know how to, you have that knowledge of the product, you know that you have to sell the product, but you don't know how to say that this product is amazing and the customer should buy it. So that communication will come into picture. So your communication, your presentation is always going to be there along with the knowledge. So I would suggest that people should never think that it's the game of only one thing. And if you think that yes, you have a great persona, but you will crack the interview once the opportunity comes, and the knowledge, theek hai, later on they will, work on it, you will fail in the long run. So you have to ensure that both of them, these things are important and go hand in hand. You have to ensure that you present yourself with the knowledge. A person who is, saying with confidence something and has backed it up with data will obviously be more appreciated than anyone who's just saying it. So that's how it has to be balanced.
So, you know, you being an HR professional, and during the pandemic, when there was lockdown, and since most of the companies, they didn't stress more upon people working, because since everything was closed, so there was this whole flood of this idea of doing online courses, getting online certifications, whether it being Coursera, Udemy, and such portals. So how do you, I mean, how does a company view it? I mean, how much value does it carry as compared to a classroom course or a full-time course? Or how much do you see that this course is worth the salt that it brings?
See, why did these courses come into picture was that people were at home, and you know, there was time which they had to, do some fruitful exercises or think of some good courses around, because physical courses were not there or they could not attend those courses. So that's the first part, that yes, these courses substituted the physical courses, so they were important. Now once the courses started, people started looking at value in them, that how much these courses are teaching you in a lesser amount of time. So as these courses started getting value, everybody started doing these courses. Now slowly and steadily, when everybody started doing these courses, they started doing giving better courses itself. So it's like a project. It started, it's developed, now it has increased its rank or it has gone to a next level, and people are now going to achieve that level as well. Sorry. So what happens is that these courses definitely have their value, these certifications definitely have value. The only point is that it should be relevant to your skill which you are presenting. So for example, if I do an Excel course, it's good. Somebody who's going to operate in an Excel field and does an Excel course, it's great. A person who does not have to use Excel at all, maybe a salesperson or a marketing person who's just going to be in field and who does not have Excel to be used, does that course, that might be a good thing to do, but that will not give you that kind of brownie points. So your course should be in line with what is required out of you and what you want to do. Otherwise, there are hundred of courses. You can do all the courses. Doesn't matter. They are free, they are online, they are certifications. So you need to select, you need to be very sure that what course you do, is that course aligned to what you want to do in future, and how will that be utilized. For example, if I ask someone who's done a course which has nothing to do with their profile, then the person will also not have an answer. The person would say, I just did it for the sake of doing it. So that is the problem where it comes. So you should be very clear that what you do is in line with your profile.
So, Sahil, just one, final question. I just want to ask is that pre-COVID time, it was generally seen that the students or the parents, they used to decide, a college on the basis of what kind of placements is it going to offer, or what kind of infrastructure it has, or where is it based out of, whether it is based out in a metro city, or it is based out of a remote region. So how do you feel that for today's students, is selecting a good college also important for a better placement, or is it only about the skills, uh like I mean, in that sense, if I'm saying, like, the IIMs, even if you're an IIM student, or you are from a tier B or a tier 3 college, but if you have those skills, you would be happy to recruit that person, or still that brand of IIM or a tier 1 institute going to play a role in deciding.
Brand will always play a role. That is always going to be. It's not because it's a brand, it's because of the cutoffs, I would say. So what happens is, a person who's got a better cutoff goes to a better college. That means the person did well in the exam. That means the person had better knowledge. Now that's the scenario and that's the mindset which the organizations have. But what's important is that all the IMs put together cannot fill all the vacancies across the organizations. So it cannot happen that I can only work with IIMs in my organization. I need to have other tier campuses, other tier campus students as well. So if I need to go to those campuses and I need to recruit from those campuses, then they are equally important for me. Now, what is important for a student is that when I come to that campus, that time stand out of the crowd, that time prove yourself worthy enough to be recruited before I see to other candidates. So that's what is important. Whether I recruit 2 from IIM and 10 from a tier 3 or vice versa, that recruitment list, that final list should include your name, and what you do to get your name there is the complete game.
So, have you, as in your experience, have you, I mean, found any difference in the level of skill set in the students before? Like, suppose you have been going to a college, say ABC. So before, pandemic, like in 2019, where when you would have gone, you find a different skill set, and now when you are going to those colleges, you are finding a different skill set. So, is what is your experience like? Your first-hand experience in that.
So I would say there is not much change from a same campus point of view in a skill set, because the students are not really thinking from that level that yes, we have to do something different. Yes, we have to stand, the scenario is different, the market is different, and we have to do something different for the organizations. They still are in that phase ki theek hai, I need to do this coaching, I need to do this studies, and I need to somehow clear the interview in the placements. They do not see, the only worry they have is whether the company would come to the campus in this COVID scenario or not. They are not thinking ki if the company comes, whether I would be the first one to be selected or not. So that's difference which they need to create, actually, which they are not doing and they are not working upon. They need to understand that if a organization comes to their campus during the COVID time also, that means that they will have to crack that organization, because definitely the organization visiting the campus in this scenario will be lesser. There will be a lot of organization which will hold their campus placement or may not conduct the campus placement at all. So if there were 10 companies coming earlier, there might be only 3 now. So whether are you prepared to be part and selected from those 3 companies or not, That's what the students need to think. But they just start, thinking on the lines ki I'm not getting placed because the company is reduced. I'm not getting placed because the campus is not doing good to bring more companies. So the thought process is to, somewhere blame the other party rather than finding myself that, yes, I need to build in, I need to have a skill set so that I get through whichever company comes. And even if a single company comes, I should be the one they should be taking along.
But don't you Sahil feel that students staying away from college from that long? Like it's been closed. The institutions have been closed since March 2020. It's 22. Give or take few months when COVID was declining. The students, they have been away from college. Like when we used to study, we used to have this whole peer discussion and group study kind of thing. But don't you feel them staying away from college is going to have some impact on placement preparation? Do you feel so? And has your team observed any such change?
From a placement preparation point of view, from a recruiter, I would not say I can observe or I can, very well see that whether the students have undergone that change or not. But yes, very true. Students which are, who are not able to interact with their peers, that gives a lot of impact in the placement preparation on the whole placement scenario, because there are a lot of things which you come to know from your peers. So that, yes, is something which they should work upon, and which should be again one of the agendas which they should have while they are working remotely or while they're studying remotely from and not attending colleges. Not attending colleges from a physical form and only attending online will have these kind of challenges. The students need to observe this, that yes, what are we losing if we are not attending the colleges in a physical form, and how we can discuss and how we can create that kind of platforms, or the campuses should create that kind of platforms where the students can come and discuss things amongst themselves, so that this thing which you said is, somewhere handled. And it's an important thing, is a very important thing from a student point of view when it comes to placement. The preparation, what you are preparing, from where you are preparing. Okay, I am not able to understand this, will you be able to make me understand? All these are small things which, when you sit in a group in a physical form, you get discussed and solved there and then. But if you are alone at home and not looking at these queries, then you just keep, thinking and introspecting and not getting answers. So it is important that these kind of sessions should be there, and the campuses or the students should work on it.
So, Sahil, we have had a very fruitful session. So, you have talked on, we have touched nearly all the aspects. But, before I conclude, I would just want you to, if you have some basic tips or some basic suggestions for the students who are going to sit for placements this year, or probably, even sometime later, any tips you want to give to them who are currently listening to you?
So apart from what we have discussed, I would say that be honest. Uh, when you say things which you have actually experienced, when you discuss things in a very, very clear and crisp manner, the confidence automatically comes. If you are trying to, lie in an interview, or if you are trying to cook up a story which is not true, you have the chance to flutter, and you have the chances that the interviewer will be able to check and guess that yes, it is not an original story. You should give a lot of examples while you are being interviewed, examples which showcase, yes, that you have done that kind of good work, or you are ready to do that kind of good work. The example can be right from your childhood till your college, anytime, it does not matter. It should be proving the point. And if that example is honest and if it is true, you will have the confidence to share it. You will be able to say it with, complete faith, and that would clearly be, observed by the interviewer, and that person can then give you that kind of points, and your selection rate becomes higher. So please be honest. Share as many examples as you can, and obviously along with it, brush up your skills. You should be ready for whichever company comes to you.
Great, great. So, friends, before we sign off, just a very quick takeaway of this fabulous session that we have with Sahil. Number one, the companies, please, we are busting this myth that the companies, they look after their employees. It's not that the companies or the HR, they leave the employees to look after themselves. They are completely hand in hand with each other. The impact of COVID on the recruitment scenario is that the companies may have halted or delayed the recruitment process, but it hasn't stopped. It is going on and it will go on. So please keep up your preparation. There is nothing like a startup or an established company like an MNC. A startup can be doing really well, and MNC might be shaking up. So only look for the kind of future of the kind of field that you want to look yourself in after probably 5 or 10 years. Please don't limit yourself only to a startup, or I'll go to some MNC or not. There is fourth point, there is nothing like a profitable sector. There is only a profitable profile, a profitable future that you have in your mind to become in the coming years. Last but not the least, Sahil talked about the online certification. He has emphasized on this fact that HR professionals like them, they specialize, they look forward on the skills rather than just a piece of paper. If you have learned something, if you have that skill, you are through. It's not about taking just a piece of paper, having your name on it. And in the very end, as Sahil has told, that please stay honest. The HR professionals, they themselves are from reputed college. I've known Sahil personally. He's been an intelligent student during his college life. So they will catch your lies very easily. Don't say stuff that you think will make you go into trouble. So keep up your preparations, because the placements, the companies can visit anytime. Yes, the pandemic might have some pessimism related to it, but it's not all that bad. The companies, they are still looking for really good employees. Anything else, Sahil, that I might have missed, you can please add on.
No, you have actually summarized it pretty well. And I would say thanks a lot for doing that. And I think the students will have a lot of good things to take away from this webinar. And I hope that they prepare, they are serious, they understand the value. I can just give an example that in the last month only I would have had 200 odd joinings, and this month we are going to have more than that. So the joinings, the recruitment, everything is going on. Everything is still in line with what is required by the organizations. So just keep developing yourself, keep working on your skills. I am sure that all of you who are, right now viewing this, they are looking for some placements, and definitely they will get one if you are there and if you can stand out of the crowd.
Great, great. So thank you. Thanks a lot, Sahil, for taking out this time from your, valuable, schedule. I know how busy you are, and the amount of meetings that you have lined up. So thanks a lot for coming and interacting with all these students. And thanks to all the students. Please, we are going to share this video on in a proper format on YouTube. You please share it with your friends who might be feeling pessimistic because of the COVID pandemic going on. So all the very best for your preparation. Keep following us and stay tuned.